வணக்கம் மாணவர்களே, இன்று நாம் 10ஆம் வகுப்பு அறிவியல் பாடத்தில் 2வது அலகில் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஆப்டிக்ஸ் இங்கிலீஷ் மீடியம் ஆப்டிக்ஸ் லெசன் பார்க்க போகிறோம். ஆப்டிக்ஸ் இஸ் நத்திங் பட் ஸ்டடி ஆஃப் லைட். Light is a form of energy. Light is all around us and we can see objects only when light is there. Light must go and fall on the object and come back, return to our eyes, and then only our eyes will sense the light and the object will be visible to us. The main source of light is sun. Sun is a natural source of light. It is a luminous object, and during rainy days the thunder and lightning comes out simultaneously, but we can see lightning only first, then only we can hear the thunder. This is because the velocity of light is very much greater than that of the sound. Velocity of light is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second, and velocity of sound is 330 meter per second. That's why first we can see the light and then only we can hear the sound. Light is the fastest traveling, is fastest with its velocity 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Now we will go for properties of light. Light is already, as I already told you, light is a form of energy. It travels in straight lines and it can travel through vacuum. It is also called as electromagnetic wave. It does not need a medium. Vacuum means empty space, வெற்றிடம். எந்த ஒரு மீடியமும் இல்லாமல் இருக்கிறது தான் வேக்யூம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. லைட் கேன் ட்ராவல் இன் வேக்யூம், அண்ட் லைட் ஆல்சோ ட்ராவல்ஸ் இன் ஃபார்ம் ஆஃப் வேவ்ஸ். வேவ் ஃபார்மில் ட்ராவல் பண்ணுறதுனால இந்த ஃபார்முலா ஒன்று அதுக்கு நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். என்னென்னா C is equal to V lambda, where C is the wave velocity and nu is the wave frequency, lambda is wavelength. Wave velocity is equal to wave frequency into wavelength, and light is it is an electromagnetic wave. I told you, visible light only we can see. Our human eye can sense only the visible light. Visible light is as in a spectrum, it starts with red color light to violet color. Red color is a light which has a greater wavelength, and violet color is having shorter wavelength. Red is greater wavelength and violet is having a shorter wavelength. Light undergoes the property of reflection and refraction. These all we have learnt in our previous classes. Reflection we have learnt in our previous class. It is just the reflection, light comes, incident light comes and falls on a surface and gets reflected. That reflected ray is going into the same medium. Now this refraction is another phenomenon by which the light enters from one medium to another. First the light enters, travels in one medium, then it enters into another medium. While entering into the other medium, it is changing its path, it's slightly bending or it's moving away from the normal. Here there are three rays, namely incident ray, refracted ray, and there is a normal. Normal is a line which is drawn perpendicular to the surface at the point of the incident ray touching the next medium. Here two mediums are there, so it can be either rarer or denser. When light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, the refracted ray bends towards the normal. When it is traveling from denser medium to rarer medium, it moves away from normal. Next we will go to laws of refraction. Laws of refraction, before going to laws of refraction, in that picture we can see that we have an incident ray, that red line which shows the incident line, incident ray, it touches the next medium at the point O, then it gets refracted. While getting refracted, it is changing its path. That dotted line over there is the normal. Normal is the line which is drawn at 90 degrees to the surface, next surface, glass slab surface. Then I, small I is the angle which is drawn between the incident ray and the normal, and R is the angle between refracted ray and normal. Now laws of refraction, there are 2 points in it. First point is the refracted ray, the incident ray and the normal, all of them lie in the same plane. Then the second point is it is otherwise called Snell's law. Before going into that law, point in that law, we will see that formula, sin I by sin R is equal to mu. If you put that in your mind, you can easily bring out the second point, that is sin I is sine of angle of incidence, sin R is sine of angle of refraction, and mu is a constant and it is called refractive index. For the second line we can say that it is the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to sine of angle of refraction is equal to a constant that is called refractive index, and it is represented by a letter mu, and mu is also given by a formula C by V, where C is the velocity of light in vacuum and V is the velocity of light in a given medium. From this formula we can have many 1 mark question, twisted questions. This is just a formula. Applying this formula we will be getting some questions. For example, in the book back question, the first question is based on this formula only. There we are given 3 or 4 mediums A, B, C, D, different refractive index. The question is, in which medium the light travels the fastest? We can say the light travels fastest only when the refractive index is greater. Okay. With this formula only we are going to answer the first choose the correct answer question. Now, the light from sun is said to be a composite light. Composite light means it consists of more than one wavelength light. Sunlight has 7 colors in it. Now, when we pass this composite light inside a glass prism, it will get dispersed, that is the 7 colors will split into 7 colors, and it can be named as VIBGYOR, shortly named as VIBGYOR. VIBGYOR, V represents violet, I indigo, B blue, G green, Y yellow, O orange and R red. All the 7 colors will be split, and this process of dispersing of all the 7 colors is said to be dispersion of light. Here the as I already told you, red is of a greater wavelength and violet is of having a short wavelength, and here the violet is being dispersed to a greater distance. Dispersion of light, we can explain the rainbow. You can see that when sun and the rain sometimes will be to put simultaneously, we can see the sun and the rain. During this situation we can see a rainbow. Always this rainbow occurs only when the sun and rain simultaneously occurs. That is, the water droplets will act as a prism and it will separate the 7 colors of the sunlight, and that is why we can see the rainbow, and it will be always opposite to that of the sun's direction. That sun இருக்கிற இடத்துல இருந்து opposite directionல தான் உங்களுக்கு rainbow தெரியும். இது வந்து dispersion of light ஓட phenomenon தான், and here the raindrops acts as a prism. Next topic is scattering of light. Here the light ray is falling on any particle. It can be an atom or a molecule. When it falls on an atom or a molecule, it gets scattered. This phenomenon is said to be scattering of light. Scattering of light is of 2 types, namely elastic scattering and non-elastic scattering. In elastic scattering, the light which is falling on the object, it is said to be incident light, and after getting scattered, it is said to be scattered light. The incident light and the scattered light both are having same energy. In non-elastic scattering, incident light and the scattered light is of different energy. That is, you cannot compare both the incident light energy and the scattered light energy. This non-elastic scattering is of different types. In our textbook, we are going to see the first one is Rayleigh's scattering law. Rayleigh's scattering. Here Rayleigh's scattering is scattering of light by the atoms or molecules. Rayleigh's scattering law is can be asked in 2 marks question. That is, before going into this Rayleigh's law, we can see the formula over there. S is inversely proportional to lambda power 4. That formula we should put it in our mind. From that formula we can state the law. S is the amount of scattered light and lambda is the wavelength. Generally while we read the formula, we will say lambda power 4. When we are going to put that in words, we are going to say 4th power of the wavelength. So from the formula we can state the law. The amount of light scattered is inversely proportional to the 4th power of the wavelength. Inversely proportional. For that only we have put 1 by in the formula. When we put 1 by, it is inversely proportional. So, I will repeat again. Rayleigh's scattering law states that the amount of light scattered is inversely proportional to the 4th power of the wavelength. Okay. Next, here again we have two application questions in Rayleigh's scattering. The question can be, why the sky appears blue? The sky appears blue because the blue light has a short wavelength and it is scattered to a greater extent. So, it is getting scattered and coming to our eyes. So, we can see the sky in blue in color. Okay. Next, during sunrise or sunset, the sunlight has to travel to a longer distance rather than in the noon time. So, when it is traveling to a longer distance, the blue light gets scattered out to the outer space and only the red light enters our eyes. So, during sunrise and sunset, the sky appears red or reddish orange or somewhat like that. The next scattering is Mee's scattering. Mee's scattering is, it is independent of the wavelength of light which is getting scattered. Here the cloud appears white. The question can be, why a cloud appears white? The cloud appears white because of Mee's scattering. Here the sunlight enters or comes near this cloud, it gets all the 7 wavelengths get scattered, and all the 7 wavelengths together forms white in color. That is why the cloud appears white in color. Next is Tyndall scattering. Tyndall scattering is, that is, I can give you one example as shown in the picture. When sunlight is entering into the dark room through the window, the sunlight is getting scattered by the dust particles present inside the room, and this effect is called Tyndall's effect, or this is called Tyndall's scattering. Here in this Tyndall scattering, the particles which are causing the Tyndall scattering is colloidal particles. This colloidal particle, there can be a 1 mark question, dash is the particle causing Tyndall effect. That is, colloidal particles cause the Tyndall effect. There is one more scattering called Raman scattering. Next we will go to lenses. Lens is a refracting medium. As I already told you, refraction is a process or phenomenon of light. The lens causes the refraction, and there are so many types of lenses as shown in the picture, namely convex lens, biconvex lens, plano-convex lens, positive meniscus, concave lens, biconcave lens, plano-concave lens, negative meniscus. Of all the 8 shown here, we can have the second picture in the first row, and again the second picture in the second row. Those two only we need to understand. The first one is convex lens, the second one is concave lens. Convex lens is otherwise called as a converging lens. Concave lens is otherwise called as diverging lens. See, why it is convex lens, why it is called as converging lens means, all the light which is entering into this lens, it is getting converged na ஒரு இடத்துல குவியுது. That is why it is said to be converging lens. Here in concave lens, all the light entering inside it is getting spreaded out or diverged. The எல்லா இடத்துலையும் அப்படி செதறி போகும் இந்த concave lens குள்ள enter ஆகிற light. That is why it is said to be diverging lens. Then there can be a question asked about, that is, differentiate between a convex lens and a concave lens. For that question, maybe you will understand everything well, but the way of presentation in your answer sheet is more important. Every answers you can put wherever it is possible, you can put a tabular column or you can write it in points. Here when they are asking about differentiate between convex lens and concave lens, you can better have a tabular column. First convex lens and then concave lens. First point, here in convex lens it is a converging lens, and concave lens it is a diverging lens. It is thick at the center and it is very thin at the sides. Concave lens, it is thin at the center and thick at the edges. Then another one is 2 points over. Then in convex lens, the image formed is mostly real image. In concave lens, the image formed is mostly virtual. You know what is real and what is virtual image. Real image are the images which are being caught in a screen. Virtual images cannot be caught in a screen. I can give you one example for virtual image. This is an image which we can see in a plane mirror. Whenever you go out, you see your face in a plane mirror. That image is said to be a virtual image, and that image cannot be caught in a screen. The images which cannot be caught by a screen is said to be, and the images caught in a screen a virtual image. These are the points for differentiation between convex and concave lenses. Next, we will see the refraction through convex lenses. Before going into the ray diagrams, we must know what is in the ray diagram. We must know what is O. O is the center of the mirror, F is the principal focus, and 2F is the center of curvature, and it has two refracting surface. So, the other side also will have a focus and 2F, that is the center of curvature, and the line which is passing through the focus and the center O is called the principal axis. Okay. Now, in a ray diagram, the arrows are very important. Without the arrows, the ray diagram does not make any sense. So, the light entering into the mirror is the lens is incident ray, and after getting the path changed, that is called refracted ray. Here we are going to see the 6 positions, 6 cases of keeping the object. Slowly we will come from infinity position. The object first is kept in infinity. Infinity object means it is generally some object outside the room, that is it can be a tree or a building or a cell phone tower. Light, that object is being focused in this convex lens. So, from a distant object the light rays is coming parallel. Here there can be 3 types of refraction. First one is the light rays are coming parallel. After refracting, it comes to and cuts the principal axis at focus. That is one type of refraction. The other one is it is coming straight into the point O, center of the lens, and it is retracing the path. That is the another type of refraction. Third type of refraction is light rays is getting inside the focus and then touching the lens. After refraction, it is coming out parallel to the principal axis. These are the 3 types of refraction. Here we can use any 2 or 3 types of refraction. The first case, that is the object is at infinity, the light rays are coming parallel. After refraction, it is cutting the principal axis at focus. Here the same type, again there are 4 rays coming from the infinity object, and it is converging at the principal focus on the other side, and the image is formed at principal focus. Here this image is very small compared to the object. The object, as I told you, it will be a building or a tree or a cell phone tower which is very large, and here the image formed is a point size image, and it is inverted and it is a real image. Here I will repeat again, the object position is at infinity, the image is formed at principal focus, and it is very diminished or point size. The nature of the image is real, and the same thing next we will go to the second case where the object is brought slightly closer. First it is at infinity, now we keep the object beyond 2F, that is beyond center of curvature. Here the first ray is coming parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it is cutting the principal axis at the principal focus. Next, the incident ray is coming straight into the center of the lens, and it is retracing the path. After the refracted ray, where that meets, here the object is AB, the image is A dash B dash between F and 2F. Again the object is beyond, the position of the object is beyond 2F, and image position is between F and 2F. The image is diminished, inverted and real. Next, case 3. Here the object is placed at C, and the ray of light, incident ray, is parallel. It is cutting the principal axis at principal focus. The second ray is passing through O. Again it is going to retrace the same path, and the refracted ray meets at C. So, the object and the image both are of same size, and the nature of the image is same size, and it is inverted real. In the fourth case, now the object is placed between center of curvature and principal focus. Now the incident ray is again parallel. It after refraction, it cuts the principal axis at principal focus. one more ray which is passing through the center of the lens, and it is retracing its path. The refracted ray meets at a position beyond 2f. Here the object is between f and 2f. The image formed is enlarged and it is inverted, it is real. In the fifth case, focus. When you keep it focus, the incident ray again it is passing parallel and parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it is cutting at the principal focus, and one more ray which is passing through the center O, it is coming out parallel, and this since the refracted rays are parallel, the image is being formed at some infinity position, and it is again it is real only. Next, the sixth position, the object is placed between the principal focus and center O. The object here, the incident ray is again parallel. After refraction, it cuts the principal axis at focus, and the other ray which is passing through the principal center O, and it is retracing. This is a peculiar case where the image and the object are on the same side. When in the same side, here the image and the object both are erect, and the image formed here is virtual. This is slightly different. You can see that all the in the rest 5 cases, all the images formed are real images. The sixth case alone, the image formed as virtual image. See here, the first case and the fifth case, you can see it's just the opposites. There you can have the object at infinity and the image is formed at focus. In the fifth case, object is at focus and the image is formed at infinity. Here in the second case, beyond, the object is kept beyond 2f, the image is formed between f and 2f. And the fourth case, you see there it's just the reverse of the second case. The object is kept between the 2f and f position, and the image is formed beyond 2f. And the third case is again a peculiar case where the image and object both are of same size. Third and sixth one are totally different from the all the 6 cases. From here, from the ray diagram itself, I can tell you what is u, what is v, and what is f. The distance between the point O and the place of the object is u, object distance, it is u, and the distance between O and image distance at the place where the image is placed, that is called v. U is object distance, v is image distance, f is focal length. Focal length is distance between f, principal focus, and O. Here I will repeat again, u is object distance, v is image distance, f is focal length. And for the sign convention, you can see the line, vertical line, you can draw a vertical line through the lens going across O, and that another line is horizontal line, we can have it as principal axis. This one you can compare with a graph. In a graph, there is a y axis and a x axis. That y axis is this vertical line which is going through O, and x axis is the horizontal line, that is the principal axis. As I already told, in a graph you have 4 quadrants, and in the y axis, on the upper side you will have all the positive values, the lower side you will have the negative values, and in x axis, the left side all you have negative values, and right side you will have positive values. You can remember with a graph, this is just a clue, and for the sign convention you can remember this and say that all the lengths measured on the left side of the lenses are negative, and all the distances measured on the right side are positive. Again, all the distance or height measured above the principal axis is positive, and all the height or distance measured below the principal axis is negative. From this graph only we can have a clue and write that sign convention. Sign convention can also be asked as a separate question. Then from this you can have magnification. Magnification formula is image distance by object distance. And one more question is there regarding this lenses is power of the lens. Power of lens is defined as the reciprocal of focal length. Here the focal length is always measured in meters, and the SI unit of power of lens is diopter. Here a value can be given for focal length, and first you should, here a problem can be given with this formula for power. First you should see whether the focal length is given in meters or centimeters. If it is given in centimeters, you must convert that into meters and then only substitute in the formula. If it is given in meters, you can directly substitute, and you should definitely put the unit diopter. Next we will go to applications of convex lenses. Convex lenses finds a great application in our daily life. It is used in cameras, and it is used in projectors, microscopes, telescopes. It is also used for correcting our defects named as hypermetropia. Hypermetropia is long sightedness. Long sightedness is people can see long distance objects, but they cannot view the close objects clearly. This you see some people can see long distance bus numbers very clearly, but they cannot read a textbook or a notebook, and that sort of eye defect is said to be hypermetropia, and it can be corrected using a convex lens. By using a convex lens, you can bring the short distance object correctly in focus on the retina. Then the retina will take up the messages to information to the brain, and this is the way the hypermetropia defect is being corrected. Human eye, it can be compared with that of a camera. Human eye, there is no lens as such. That cornea is a refracting material, and here the amount of light entering into the human eye is through the iris, and in a camera we can use different lenses for a distant object and a close object, but in human eye there is nothing like that. So the ciliary muscles only adjusts the focal length for viewing the long distance and short distance. Sometime due to aging we can get this defect. Next we will go to concave lenses. Concave lenses are used in door spy holes. See, you would have watched doors with small holes and lenses being fitted inside it. See, some stranger is standing outside. Before opening the door, we can view who is standing outside through this spy hole. When you look through the spy hole, you can see the complete image of the person standing outside. So we can be cautious before opening the door. That is called spy holes. And then it is also used in Galilean telescopes, and the concave lenses are used to correct the myopia defect. Myopia is short sightedness. The children, it is generally common in children. Children can read or write, but they cannot board clearly. In that case, you can use concave lens for correction of the image to fall on the retina, and this is common in small school children. இப்போ நம்ம uses of concave and convex lens liye defects of eyes பார்த்தோம். Defect of eyes can be asked in a detailed question. That also you can write very easily. There are mainly 4 defects, namely myopia, short sightedness, hypermetropia, long sightedness, presbyopia, and astigmatism. I explained about myopia and hypermetropia. Presbyopia is again caused due to aging factor, and both the close objects and distant objects cannot be seen clearly in this defect, and this defect can be corrected by using bifocal lenses. Astigmatism, people cannot see. Here also old people will get this defect. People cannot see the straight lines. It will appear to be curved for them, and this can be corrected by using cylindrical lenses. Next, compound microscope. It is a detailed answer. See, there is a picture in the slide. That is the compound microscope. All of you would have seen a compound microscope in your school laboratory. In our practicals, we have slide experiments. So we will view this slides only through this compound microscope, and compound microscope is an optical instrument which is used to see very small microorganisms, and the place where you keep your eye is the eyepiece, and the slide, there is a platform where you can have your slides, and that slide is the object. The lens near the object is said to be an objective. So the whole the ray diagram which I have drawn the next to the compound microscope is the phenomenon which is going through this tube, that is between the eyepiece and the objective. So there we are using 2 convex lenses. Objective is of short focal length and eyepiece of large focal length. 2 lenses, convex lenses are we are using. Previously I taught about the refraction. Here this case 2 and case 4 Those two cases we are using in this compound microscope. See here, AB, that is the object placed, and the object, the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, it cuts the principal focus, then another ray is passing through the center, both the refracted ray are meeting at a point, there an image A dash B dash is formed. This image is enlarged, it is slightly bigger than the object and it is inverted, it is real. This image of the first lens is going to serve as a object for the second, that is eyepiece. Here the object is at a position within F. FE, you can see FE there in the principal axis, FE is the principal focus for the eyepiece, FO is the principal focus for the objective. Here the object is placed between FE and the center E, and the image formed of this object is very much enlarged. There it is denoted in dotted lines, and it is a virtual image, and it is erect with respect to the object. See here, the object for the eyepiece is A dash B dash, and it is in the same direction. The object that is in, which is denoted in short dotted lines. This is the final image which we get. The original object is AB. Look at the size of the final image, it is very much big. So, this is the way we can view the microorganisms, and this question is being asked in detailed question. First of all, we should try to draw the diagram by seeing the textbook itself. We can draw, you should practice very well by seeing and drawing. For 10 times practice பண்ணாதான் அதை நீங்கள் பார்க்காம answer sheetல வரைய முடியும். First, if you try to work out this diagram first, you will get full marks. After understanding what the phenomenon there, you can write it on words and you will be given full marks for this detailed answer. Here also you should give side headings and then only write. Next is one more optical device or optical instrument is telescope. Telescope is used for viewing long distance objects, and long distance objects, by viewing long distance objects, it is helpful for seeing the space. Here one more 2 marks question is important, that is applications of telescopes. 2 or 3 lines you need to write for applications of telescope. With that the complete content is over. We will just recall from the first. Now the last optical device which we saw is the compound microscope. Compound microscope is a very important question, and after that another optical device which we saw is telescope. Telescope, here application of telescope is very important, and by understanding the content of the complete lesson, you can answer whatever question which is being asked in your examination. Here the ray diagrams is the one which you should practice by seeing your textbook. You should first practice properly. By seeing and drawing only you can get perfection. After drawing 10 or 15 times only you will get perfection. So, first you try to draw the ray diagrams, that refraction through convex lenses, that object position, image position. From that you can get 1 mark questions, and detailed answers you should put subtopics and then write. The way you present your answers are more important. Okay students, we can continue with the next lesson in the next session. Thank you.